the way you're chi saying. Recently, he's really learning how to relax this area. And you can see, as I'm pushing in, I'm pushing forward, I'm not going to push down. You can see my fingers, I'll push forward into him. You can see how he's recycling the force through the hip joints and knees very nicely. He's triangulating very nicely. But yeah, on both arms, it's going to be a little bit harder to take force, right? Because it's a flat thing, you can't pivot it off. Whereas on one, you can take it in and pivot it off. So in that way, double palm strike is more difficult. However, in terms of triangulation, it's a little bit easier. Like the triangulation exercise we did earlier where, you know, the other week when we, you know, to do a punch against someone pushing here, if you're pushing on the side of my arm, to do a punch against someone pushing here could be a little bit harder for beginners. And that's why as soon as they go like this, then you can ignore what he's doing and I can just triangulate down that way, you know. But even doing it on one arm, we've got to have that triangulation idea. It's the same, but of course having both going out at the same time, it's easier to feel that triangulation. So in that same way, so last thing I'll say is, rather than this, you tell me the difference. Like that, compared to like that, yeah. So I don't know if you could hear on the camera like that as well. So one of them is a strike, the other one is a push, right? And that's what, so Michael was getting perfect, like very good stability, like that, right? But one thing that was missing, that, you know, will come with some time, is that ability to actually be able to strike, to get a penetrative force rather than just a, to not get affected with the you know, rebound force. Michael's level already is very good. Then from there, it's just about more relaxation inside, more relaxation, and then the acceleration and the hurl. You know, so the heel of the palm is active. It's an outlet. I was doing, remember the various, you were filming the palm strike, various angles I was doing on set. You can see, so as I was touching in here, you could see the force go inside. So like this, we're able to give that penetrative power.
Yeah, it's almost like his spine has to catch up with the force, like the way you're disrupting it.
Yeah. Almost like you're getting an internal whiplash somehow.
Yeah.
One time when I was bouncing, I'll finish on this story, I was bouncing, it was at Tarrant. So, you know, but I'll show you what sort of this person's going to be trying to, you know, so from here, you know, so you see I'm trying to just, and follow up with a punch as well. Yeah, a simultaneous punch. You know, so I'm trying to really get his, nice. I'm really trying to get his, that's my fault, and I've got a big nose. It's just so you see, if I go like this, before we're doing it previously, we're doing like this, right? And we're testing the structure. Yeah, you know, it's just as child's play for him. But you see, by doing that, he's in a different state. You know, and now I'm not just going like that. You see, this is a different punch to actually I'm actually trying to hit him in the chin. You know, with enough power to challenge him, you know. Now I'll start moving around. Come, yeah, that one got you. Yes. It's tough to get this guy. So even getting one is good. You see, so like that, you know, you can see on the camera. Now, just a couple of punches, you can see how it's not pleasant. It's really not pleasant, you know, because here you're meeting the sharp edge of the forearm. So you take a few, and it's, you know, and it just shows how hard I was hitting, just to show his ability, and just stand there and just go like that without even moving in. At this point, if he moved in, right, so not this technique, but let's do the way we do it, and you just move into me, so you attack as well. You know, so at that point, then I have to be, as a boxer, you know, I'm not saying boxing is bad, boxing is a great, beautiful art. As a boxer, I have to be more, you know, I have to try to be more. So you see there, this is the stuff that we're going to build up to in a couple of months, you know. And also, so being first the double singles, you know, a little bit of that, you know. And then maybe like that we can continue luksowing, you know. So this is, we can communicate, okay, let's do double singles and do that, or we can start doing it without talking and sort of, you know, we sort of follow each other's leads, you know. So we don't have to talk each other, we can just sense it and it naturally starts to come out. We can start to look at Jiao. So with the running palms, it's really, there's a tricky one, like for our level, because as an exercise it's fantastic, right? And this is how Seagull will do it, okay? Running palms from here, which I've talked about before, and I'll catch this one. Yeah, so as the teacher, he will do that, right? Now, in mid-Luksao or in mid-Chi Sao, When I say it's difficult for us to demonstrate, because our natural thing is that if Seb, you try to pull or push whatever, if he does something like that, right? Naturally, I will do better than that if you do it again. Yeah, something like that will come out, okay? Because you're continuing to go forward, the opponent's produced a force that's actually not coming forward at you, it's not efficient, therefore naturally there's a gap. Our joints, like the first time I did it, I was talking and that happened, which is not right. Okay, even though it didn't catch my body, it's still, I didn't feel right, it felt quite tense. But naturally, because of the state of the joints, you're able to take force from any direction anyway. So whether it's coming forward or going down, for you it should be the same. But if he stops coming forward and goes down, naturally he's made a gap. So by him pulling down, naturally my arm comes forward and hits him, right? So it's a little bit counterintuitive for us to actually do the Jalsa practice at our level. Having said that, if that's what people need to stand like that. So it depends on you, your partner's level, and it depends on how much force you want to use. Either stand like this to resist or stand like that. The arm is just like this, yeah? Now, in terms of the latching, ensure that you're not grabbing. We talked about this in the arm grab video where we don't want the thumb. We never grab with the thumb around anyway, so you're just latching like that, which is completely fine because from there I can still hit and he can't damage my wrist. But also don't grip, don't tense like that where the wrist joint starts to tense up like this. Because if you're tense, even if you do have Tai Gong rising up, if you tense like that, then wherever you are tense in the body becomes a platform, becomes a blockage in which the opponent can start to manipulate. And that's, even though I was trying to go rise up, relax, because of this, none of this is connected, So try to have it where, Sigon would always talk about goon. Goon means to wrap around, So have it so the fingers are so relaxed, and this stuff later on is in Chum Kyu, so it's a little bit early on for that, and it's in a dummy form as well. But you can work on it now. So how to be able to really relax and the fingers wrap around like a snake, but it doesn't, like the person shouldn't feel like that I'm squeezing, it's just wrapping around, So I want to have it so there's a minimal amount of space, empty space, between my palm or my fingers and Seb's arm. So it feels like I'm holding with all of this, whereas if I squeeze and maybe he feels hardness, but he only fits it at 2 points, right? You can't squeeze and be even across everywhere. Therefore, it's very hard to stick if you squeeze. He can just rip it out very easily, Whereas wrapping it around like that, it's a lot harder. If you rip it out, it's a lot harder. If you go down, it's a lot harder to rip it out. You can start to stick, and therefore, as you're sticking, you can start to bring them forward quite easily as well. Okay. Now, I want to talk about. So, of course, this area we want to minimize the amount of this happening. Even though I can bring him forward, by leaning back a little bit and dropping down into it, I'm creating, one of the highest levels, I think, of any movement we're doing in Silam Tao, forwards, backwards, whatever. But the area he was touching was here. So for the arm, mainly the area we're playing with ultimately is here, around the spine, the center there. If you can't do that, back here, you can start thinking about dropping here. If you're okay with this, you can start thinking about the 2 strips around the spine, So we don't have the muscular system thing anymore, but there's 2 strips that run all the way, from basically the traps inside, they run all the way, and they're quite deep muscles. He said that for external muscles, they're the last muscles that are going to relax from your back. Once you've done that, then there's muscles in front of the spine, stuff that he couldn't touch. Then it's about relaxing those muscles. But in terms of the back, those strips are the final part. So we start from here, go back to there, back to there, back to there, and then end up those strips. When those strips are relaxed, very hard to feel where the movement's coming from.
100%. Be patient with it as well, guys. I do this every single day, and as Nima was nicely trying to be patient with me getting back there, I wasn't able, if we tell everybody quite honestly, I wasn't able to let those things go. But there's something about softly trying to do that anyway. Just to, as best as I can, be patient with putting my mind into that space and then seeing what comes out of that as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
It's quite so take your time with it.
Yeah, because I was the opposite, when I first came. I'm like, okay, I didn't know I'm going to stay in Hong Kong for that long. I was like, all right, I'm here for a couple of months, I thought, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to get the most out of it. I'll do 3 hours before I actually go to Seagulls. I was going to Mars for 3 hours. John and I were going to Mars, 3 hours, and then have a quick lunch, 45 minutes, and then go to Seagulls, 6 hours there. I'm like, I've got to do it. As soon as he's coming around, I'll be like, okay, pick me, fix me, correct me. That's what I was saying inside my head. And he'll come around, I'm like, yes, it's my turn. And then he'll do something. I'm like, okay, quickly, pay attention, Nima. Why are you thinking this is what's going on in my head? Pay attention. That, okay, he wants me to be down here. Okay, I'll just stay here for 2 hours then. And he was so patient, and he was like grandfather's age, right? So he's probably seeing us inside going, idiots, they don't have a clue. But he was patient, stayed with it, and we stuck with it until the end. That wasn't there. But I went the other way. I tried my hardest. I'm going to give this a good go. I'm like that with everything, right? And that backfired actually, until I had to the hard way find out what Chris just said. You make a decision just like meditation or like whatever, just like monks. I don't think they go there expecting enlightenment in 2 months, right? So they go there like, okay, this is the life I've chosen. This is the path. Let's say this is the art that you can choose to delve into. But just like any other art, there's no completion. It's just it's just a process of it, and you get better and better till the end of till you die, So.